Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It is time for another live stream. I'm just going to check everything looks good. Good evening, everyone in the chat. How are you? GMI, I can see GMI, Floor Flyer, my patient, I think it is how I say that. Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you guys are in the world. Simon Rose FPV. Reptilian Research, how are you, my friend? I hope everyone is good. Now, have we got a packed show, I should say? We have got a packed show for you tonight because there's a lot to talk about. What a week it has been. What a week it has been. There's been some good, there's been some bad, there's been a lot of interesting things coming to light as well, not only with regards to this, and we're going to talk about that first of all because I want to get that out of the way and put a nail in the coffin of that one and move on. And then we're going to take a look at all of this Express ELRS stuff because there's been lots of stuff around that too. Now, I'm just going to let the stream build up before I go into anything tonight. So I hope everyone is well. Good evening, Mark. How are you? Good evening. You missed the chair shot. I can arrange a chair shot in a minute. But it has been quite the week. Now, as you guys may have seen earlier, I have put up, unusually for me on a Sunday, but I wanted to get it out, which is my review of the Orqa FPV-1 pilots. It's a really long video. I apologize for that. I just couldn't make it any smaller, even though I tried. And in the end, it just kept getting bigger and bigger. But I'm hoping I've managed to cover everything in it and my thoughts, and it has been one of the more interesting reviews I've done of recent times because I went into it already sort of decided that they weren't for me. However, I've come out of it with a different opinion, and whilst I'm not going to sit here and say I 100% love them because there are some quirks that I would prefer were improved, I am that, as I said at the video for those who haven't seen it, I am that close to getting a set for my main daily drivers, to be honest, with regards to analog and HD0. I ordered in something new this week, which I'll show you guys as well in a minute, which is this. I bought a Whoop. I thought it's time I got into this world because it's horrible. It's windy. It's wet here. I had this out in the trees today. I actually got it up a tree twice. And I'm just getting my head around that at the moment. I just can't fly it through the house. My house is way too small for a craft this small. Even this size, way too small. But I'm really pleased with the Orqa video because I think... okay, as always, my opinions are always entirely my own. No one influences them. But I feel I got this one nailed in the video in how I feel. Have a few weeks with some Skyzone 04Xs. That's the only thing that's holding me back from ordering the Orqas is I want to spend some time with the 04Xs. And as I said in that video, I'll be honest, I think 99% of people will be happy with the Orqas, but we will talk about that a bit more in a minute. So I'm just going to let a couple of people catch up on the chat. Hello off the ground. How are you, my friend? Hope all's well. Good evening, Mike. Good evening, Tommy. Slogan 9105, liking the Zorro. Have you got the Zorro? Really interested. I have a cup of tea. It's been a bit of a controversial week. Might have had something to do with this. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. And the reason I want to do that in a specific bit is I'm going to be cutting that to put out on the channel specifically. You'll probably get better customer service with Orqa. I have to say, on the Orqas, I think they're really active on their group at the moment. I have reached out 3 times to the guys at Skyzone and not had a reply regarding saying, look, I'd be interested in doing a review if you're interested. No response to that. Fair enough. Then reaching out to them saying, look, I've seen there's talk of a version 3 module. Can you give us any info on that? No response to that. And I reached out to them again about something else, and I can't remember which one it was. But again, just no response from them. And I've reached out to like 3 or 4 people at Skyzone. I found 3 or 4 email addresses for them and nothing at all. So I can't comment on what this version 3 module or this version 3 Skyzone is all about. The info I have seen online is that it's a new SoC in the goggles. That's what I've heard. We'll talk about that as we talk about these two. Good evening, Peppermint, my friend. I hope you are safe and well. These will be heading back to you this week. I'll give you a shout tomorrow and we'll figure out a meetup this week if you're around to get these back to you. I need to print you another cover because the blue one doesn't really suit it. I'll print a black one for it as well, just to show you on the overhead. The blue one is all right, but gentleman's grey is actually the correct term for that filament. But I'll get you a black one. I got nothing that comes close to this colour, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is take a sip of my tea. We're going to get onto the full screen for this one, and then we'll do the HD0 Fat Shark bit and get that out of the way. Okay, I'm going to move that to the side because I'll probably spill it. Okay, so to start this one off, this week I did 2 things. I put out a sort of statement stroke message on my community section on YouTube, and I followed that up with a video where I talked about these, the Scout HDs. In that, I said I was withdrawing my recommendation to consider buying these based on what Fat Shark's customer service was apparently telling customers. Now, I stand by everything I said in that video and statement, and my opinion hasn't on Fat Shark changed. However, I do have a little bit of news on this, and whilst this has been posted elsewhere, I have confirmed it's correct as well, and we're going to talk about it. Now, that news is that HD0 are going to be offering the support for the main board on this model. So these goggles are manufactured, as far as I'm concerned, by Fat Shark, but they do use HD0 technology. The board is labeled HD0. However, as far as I'm concerned, and I still remain concerned, that these goggles are Fat Shark goggles, and it is their responsibility to offer support for them. However, I have had a statement sent over to me from Carl, so what I'm going to do is pop it up on the screen and just share this with you guys. And that statement is that DiviMath makes the PCBA for the Scout HD, and Fat Shark handles the rest, including LCD display, plastic cases, assembly, and final test. The Scout HD is an important product for the HD0 family, and we will happy to provide firmware updates, troubleshooting, and consulting for customers. I guess Fat Shark will continue to provide excellent customer service as usual for the Scout HD goggle. I know Randy from Fat Shark's support team is actively working on fixing the SMA for that customer who had the issue, and DiviMath will provide as much support as they can as well. So, what this situation says is HD0 are going to try and provide the support for their bit of these goggles. I still fully believe this is a Fat Shark problem from support, and they should be working with HD0 in the background to sort boards out if that's an issue. I don't like the fact that their customers are being pushed from one person to another. I got nothing to do with HD0. That's simply to do with sort of Fat Shark pushing that across. Now, I had a lot of feedback off the back of that video. People saying, you know, you're talking nonsense, from, you know what, you're right, this isn't good enough. And I also had a bit of criticism laid at me that why haven't I reached out to Fat Shark or HD0 on this? Now, just to be clear, as far as I'm concerned, and still am today, even based on that statement, these are Fat Shark goggles, Fat Shark product. HD0's not got a responsibility in repairing these. Further to that, because that information was posted by Fat Shark support, I saw no reason to question that. Because as far as I'm concerned, that is them telling the world their stance on this. And nothing has changed in that. There's been no response from Fat Shark. There's been no they've not contacted me, they've not contacted anyone else as far as I'm aware. They literally have not even rebooted it and say, sorry, we didn't mean that or anything. It's been radio silence. The only thing we have had is HD0 and Carl step up. Now, there is actually a reason I didn't contact HD0 in truth. And that was because I knew Carl would probably end up doing what he's done because he's such a nice guy. But I didn't want to be the person to sort of trigger that because I don't feel it's his fault. I didn't want to say to Carl up front, Carl, I want to make a video on this. And you guys, can you tell me your stance on this? Because I'm almost backing them into a difficult situation. And I wanted to be clear that at no point was this, as far as I'm concerned, HD0's problem. And I remain with that belief, and I fully stand by what I've said. Now, just to clear up where I stand on these today, because look, my opinion means nothing. At the end of the day, I am a tiny voice in a very loud pond full of amazing people, such as Bot Grinder. I saw you hiding there. I saw you. And JB and others. At the end of the day, I'm just giving you my personal opinion about it, because at the end of the day, that's all I can do. I gave a recommendation in a review. I withdrew that recommendation, in that review. So that is why I made the video. It wasn't to shame Fat Shark. It wasn't to do anything like that. But I personally feel if I go out and say, yeah, this is fantastic, you should buy this, and something changes, then I have a responsibility to go back and readdress that. And that's what I did. It wasn't for clicks. I made sure that the video didn't have a clickbait thumbnail title. I could have done what I did with the DJI one, which was put a big X over the front of it. And I made sure it was not clickbaity. I did what I felt was right. There are people who will and won't agree with that. But at the end of the day, I am just giving an opinion. Whether that opinion is valid or not, who knows? So today, I am more comfortable to say people should consider buying these again because Carl's going to pick up the pieces. I don't think he should have to. And I really do think, based on all of the information I've had, all of the comments and that statement, that they've been stitched up, frankly. However, because they are going to be providing that support, I don't see a reason not to consider buying these. The reliability is actually fairly decent on them. You should be fine, and Carl is going to be continuing the support in the future. What I would say is if I could get a HD0 logo to put across the front of that, I certainly would be, to cover that one up. Because I do think in this, the behavior of a company certainly does raise concerns for me, in the sense of, would I recommend them to anyone else for any other products right now, including the competitors to these? You know, and it's hard to do that. And look, this is really simple. Companies need to start talking to their customers and the likes of us or anyone else. When you go radio silence, all we're left with is what's in front of us. And if I look at what the companies who are doing really interesting stuff right now are doing best, that is HD0, that is Orqa, that is people like Express ELRS, and those companies who are talking to the community and talking to YouTubers, creators, influencers, whatever you want to call us. When companies aren't talking, all we're left is with what we find in the public. And that is the real situation. So that's my thoughts on it. For those who agreed with me, thank you. For those who didn't, I'm sorry. But it was still the right thing to do. And at the end of the day, I can only give a recommendation based on my own experience. So that's the Fat Shark bit. I'm going to jump back over to the chat. Good evening, Bot Grinder, my friend. What are you doing here? I am privileged to have you in the chat. Oh, just joined at the right time. Hello, mate. How are you? I hope you're safe and well. Right, let's catch up on the chat for everyone. So, Peppermint, did I get a chance to see if the here link with Wi-Fi? No, it doesn't. However, I have to see if they work. No, but I have sent Ivan a message that we would really love support for that. And his exact response is interesting. They're going to look into it. So it doesn't work, but they're going to look into it. It's not no. Catching down, agreed. Catching down on the chat, sorry guys. I hate it when companies only respond to customers' issues when they only get called out online. Total weak source. Look, let's be honest, that's what DJI did when I highlighted the issues there. I'll be honest, I've still not heard anything from Fat Shark, but they don't really talk to me. I probably don't want to talk to me. For those having issues with the Scout HDs, they firstly direct to Fat Shark, and Fat Shark advise how to proceed. Yeah, that seems to be the way it is. And I think what happened in this situation was they sort of went, and they didn't say in that comment, oh, that problem would need to be addressed by HD0. Can you go and talk to them? Because we have something in place. It was, we don't have this connector. You're better off going to talk to them. It wasn't that there was an agreement in place, because I don't believe there was. There was nothing. And actually, you read the statement from Carl, it doesn't even sound like there was, because Carl said, I guess Fat Shark will continue to provide support for the goggles themselves. You know, Carl's, there's been no contact there. That's from the sound of that. So, look, Fat Shark created this situation themselves. If they were going to do this, what they should have done is set up an agreement in the background that HD0 would handle one part of it and Fat Shark would handle the other, and this would have been a non-issue. And it's, is Fat Shark communicating at all? Not as far as I'm aware. I've not heard anything. Stop making sense. Thank you, Mark. Catch it down. Stop making sense again. Steve Man, that's a shame. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. The Botman, FPV started with a close-knit community and DIY parts. Now we have a ton of companies trying to get in the space. We're missing the entire community aspect. Yeah, and that is the issue. And look, just talk. Everything can be solved by talking. But you've got to also communicate and respond to messages and put blog posts up and just look. I don't care if we don't like the answer, but give us the answer anyway. You're not always going to agree with what a company says, but I would really be interested to, at least we get a response. If we get a response, we know where things are at, and that's the thing. But saying nothing is worse than telling us bad news. You know, don't sugarcoat it. If it's bad news, it's bad news. We'll deal with it. Has anyone tried putting the original Fat Shark type diopters in the new Orcas? No, I haven't. It's true, become the cash cow for companies. They do need to keep it. Alexandro, hello. Working electronic manufacturing plant. I have some experience in the subject. Repairs would be done by who manufactured the unit. Yeah, but the problem is this, and this was my argument with it. Ford don't say when the brake sensor made by Bosch fails that you need to go and talk to Bosch. At the end of the day, Fat Shark assemble these products. They're the person whose name is on the front, and they're the person taking your money and marketing it. So they are the ones with the responsibility unless they tell you otherwise. And actually, I'll rant now. What really annoyed me in this situation is these goggles are still for sale. And those potential customers were buying a product that may not have had support. And that was where my concern was. Because I had a video on the channel that had a recommendation that said you should go and buy these. And now Fat Shark was saying they can't get parts. Yet they're still selling the product. And that was where my real issue was. They're selling something that they're saying they can't fix. If that's the case, you take them off the shelves. It's that simple. You know, it really is. If it's a product rebranded to a different name, then the product should be the company rebranded the product. Thus, the company should send it to the manufacturer. Yeah, great, exactly. You know, in this situation, what should have happened is Fat Shark said, send us the goggles, and then if they needed that board going to HD0, they could have forwarded it to them, or just replaced the board. Could this be Fat Shark's last goggles? I do wonder, and look, all is not well in that camp, and I'm not saying this to hate on Fat Shark, but I'm starting to see more and more problems with the HDO2s, with the boards failing on HDMI input. That seems to be ramping up as the age of the goggles is getting older. You know, they're getting older as time goes on. We are seeing more and more people posting that this HDMI board is failing. There's a guy on the HD0 forum or Discord server trying to work out what the exact issue is, because we could do with a community response on this. And look, are Fat Shark going to be offering these boards forever? Because if they're saying they can't get a part on these, well, how long before they say they can't get that part, or you can't have that fixed. And that's where my concern is. Once you start saying you can't get a part to your customers on a product that's already still in production, how can you then make them feel that all of their products are fine? Because here's something interesting, okay, before we wrap this one up. Here's the desktop view, and this is the internal board of the Scout HDs. You've got DiviMath Scout version 1.1, so it's a DiviMath board. But this connector here, this is that UFL, sorry, not UFL, the SMA connector they say they couldn't get. This is the same connector that appears to be in the normal Scouts as well. If you look at the teardown on the normal Scout HDs, this same connector is used. So they can get it for one, but not the other. And it just smells off. It just smells bad. It really, really does. So that was just something I wanted to share, and I thought that was that. And the problem is, once you start saying on one product, this is a current product, but hey, we can't get parts for it, then am I going to risk spending £400-500 on a set of HDO2s that they could then say, well, if the HDMI board fails in 2 years, sorry, we can't get that either, or that's not going to be available whilst the goggles are still in production. So once you start doubt, that doubt has to be taken for all products. You should not just say, it'll only be these because these are a partnership with HD Zero. It is not that simple. If they can't get parts for one, then that has to come across the line and brings into doubt the whole line. So, okay, so that's my thoughts on that. Could these be Fat Shark Last goggles? I said, great video today. Great video today. Longest walk into great dog video today. Hello, Mike. Good. One short drone flight. Loud and clear. Let us flash our own firmware too. That would be cool. I remember handling with the camera go. So that's pretty much it on the Fat Shark thing. We may have seen HDMIs in HDO2, but is that a true reflection of total sales? Not necessarily, but you are seeing it ramp up. So, like anything, online is never a true representation of anything. No one goes online and says, my goggles are working absolutely fine. What you get is the guy go online and say, my goggles aren't working. However, what you are seeing is enough people posting it that I start going, okay, where's the fix on this? Is there a solution? Is it the chip? Is it the supporting circuitry? Yes, Fat Shark are fixing it today, which is fantastic. I don't even think they're charging people for any repairs at all, which is brilliant. But again, how long is that going to happen for? I'm not seeing people on a daily basis posting that their HDMI isn't working on the original Orqas, the Skyzone 04Xs. It may be very, very small numbers in relation to overall production, but it is enough here and there that you notice it. So again, once you start raising doubt, that's the situation. The HDO2s are also getting a bit old in the tooth now, in the sense of they don't fully support HD Zero, and that's why I'm not going to consider them from a 4x3 point of view. For me, it's got to be the Skyzone 04Xs or the Orcas. So, that's it on that one. Okay, so the Fat Shark one. We've nailed it. We're going to have a sip of tea. How is the bot, man? No, and I know that generally their service has been very good, but you are starting to see more and more people say about issues, which is a bit of a shame. It is a bit of a shame, and it's not, this post of support issues is not alone. There's been more and more of them over the last few weeks and months. I have, and I'm going to add it, I have zero problem with Fat Shark as long as they're doing what they should be doing for customers, as all companies should. Now, whilst we're talking about HD Zero and Fat Shark or Scout HDs, I'm just going to jump over to the desktop. For those who haven't seen today, there's another new firmware revision for HD Zero, which is today's date, so 26/12/22. Oh, no, actually, 26th of the 1st, 2022, sorry. And they've added manual white balance adjustment for the new HD Zero camera. So this is good news. I think this is going to be on the original HD Zero, MIPI style camera and the version 2. I think it's on those two models. I haven't confirmed yet, but they have added white balance, which is brilliant. We know what white balance is like. It can be a pain in the ass. If you want to be able to set it, you now can. There's also a micro version 2 camera coming. Second batch needs it, which is interesting. What's changed on that? Maybe it's just the firmware they're coming with. And they've also added a support for customized boot logo. I really like that, and I want to have a look at that. I haven't done it yet, but we will be taking a look at that one. And then there's some bug fixes as well. So here's a summary for all the camera for all HD0 branded camera menu. So yes, it's on the HD0 MIPI style and the HD0 version 2. And we've got brightness, saturation, sharpness, contrast, white balance mode, horizontal flip, max gain, and aspect ratio, which is really good to see. I really am impressed that they've added this stuff. It's getting really close to being perfect. I flew the new V2 camera a couple of days ago when I did that Orqa video, because that was a very, very small amount of footage on that one, and it's a good looking camera. It really is a good looking camera indeed. So really, that is all of the HD0 news we have today. You still can't get VRXs. You still can't get some stuff. Stuff is hard to get hold of at the moment. Something I just will say as well before I move on is I've seen a lot of people sort of saying, oh, when am I going to be able to get the $99 receivers again? Oh, when are the new cheap HD0 receivers coming again? Just a bit of a warning. There has been no price confirmation on the new HD0 VRXs or receivers. Don't assume they're going to be $99 like this one discounted too. You can still get this around at $250, but don't think this new HD0 one is going to be $99 as well. We don't know the price, and perhaps Carl will do that. However, I have a feeling it's going to be coming in somewhere like $170 to $250, based on the chipset I've seen inside, based on stuff like that. There's an ASIC in here which costs $99, and yes, they're going to be paying less for that, but that $99 price, or that £99, $120 price, whatever it was, wasn't official. It was a discounted price by Fat Shark, not HD0, to sell more modules. Looking back, personally, I think it was clearance. They said it wasn't. I think it was. And this one isn't coming again. So if you do see this one around for $250, don't think that's expensive. It is a possibility the new ones are going to come in cheaper, but don't be shocked if they don't. I would not be expecting $99 here, personally. But let's see. I could be wrong on that one. Let's see where it comes in at. But they're going to be February or March for those ones. Now, before we hop over to the Orcas, if you guys have got any questions, please do let me know. It is Year of the Tiger. It is. And just to give you guys a bit of an update, the new rulers... Where is the original one? I've lost it. No, I haven't. The rulers are held up in Chinese New Year. They're being made on the 7th of February. This is the pre-release version, which didn't come out properly for those who haven't seen it. Let me go on the overhead. For those who haven't seen it, I've got something coming, which is this, which is going to be sort of the first bit of merch for the channel, which I've labeled the FPV ruler. It's going to have various bits of information on it. It's got, obviously, millimeters on the top, inches on the bottom. It's going to have frequency charts, power charts, LiPo voltages, motor voltages. But I'm really proud more than anything of the back. I really like the back. Let me zoom in just to show you, because it just looks too good not to show you. It really does. So on the back, we have all of the receiver layouts. So we have the Happy Model EP1 and 2, and that also is the same as Ghost, basically, and I do label that up for Ghost as well. We've got the TBS layouts for Crossfire and Tracer, the HD0 TXs, VTXs, as well as all of the models available in the power ratings. Both DJIs, so the DJI main unit and the Vista, as well as some other information here as well, talking about capacitors, digital FPV, how to improve the power output of the DJI system. There's also on the new board some menu stuff here as well, showing you how to get into the menus. And then you got an FPV camera angle chart located down there with a little bit of abuse from me in that, which is going to be on the original one. Hopefully they're going to be here in the near future. You've also got wire sizing chart and bolt sizing chart there too as well. And hopefully this should be here mid-February now, by the time the first batch come in. Now, the first one's going to be offered to Patreons, and then I'm going to do a proper order for everyone else as well. But I thought I'd just give you guys an update on that one. So, it's time to talk about the Orqas, and I'm not going to talk about these for long because I have a 30-minute video on it. I do want to apologize for that video. It's too long. I know it's too long. It's ridiculous. I just couldn't get it smaller. I wanted to go through the menus because I hadn't really seen much on that, and that dragged it out a bit as well. And by the time I was waffling through, it's no surprise it come to nearly just over 30 minutes in the end. But I am pleased with it, and I have to say, I do really like these goggles much more than I thought I would. And I'm going to be completely open with you guys. I was turned off by that field of view number up front when I saw the numbers on a piece of paper. However, I still wanted to try them. And in the end, whilst I would still prefer a larger field of view, I would be more than happy with these on a daily basis. You just adapt. Now, you can argue, well, you shouldn't have to adapt. It's really preference. It comes down to what you prefer. And after a couple of days, you're fine with it, you know. There is a lot, though, I really like on this. The DVR is very good. And it is so close to the HD0 DVR. It's insane. With regards to recording the HDMI input, it's just almost the same. And it is really nice for creators because you do have that option of recording the DVR and recording on HD0 and having one with OSD and one without. And it's just nice to have that option. I like the menu system from Orqa. I think it's really good. I do like the fit and feel of the goggles. Again, as I complained about in the video, there should be a Fusion module cover included as standard. I don't care what agreements are in place at £450 plus. I want another piece of plastic to suit the second most or first most used module. You know, let's be realistic. People are easy using rapid fire or Fusion at this level. For the most part, people are using rapid fire or Fusion. It's for that at this price level, that's where the most common two is. And I just think for the cost, they should have put a cover in for both. And I do think I would have preferred the goggles to have been £2 Giro with that cover than them selling it to me as an accessory afterwards for £2, because it feels like they want to scrape more money from you. If it was bundled in and the price was a little bit higher, I would have just preferred that. I know you can argue, well, sending everyone multiple covers means that you got one that's wasted, but people might change modules. It's fine. But I just think it's a shame that you've just got to end up 3D printing one. It's not difficult. I've printed one. I'm going to print a black one for Peppermint on this one, just to make sure it looks a bit better. But, you know, if you're spending this money on a product, you do want it to sort of look as it should as well. You know, it's a bit frustrating. I'm tempted to print a cover for that side as well. If you printed one for both sides, it would match then. But other than that, I have to say I really like them. I think the biggest issue is the buttons. They're just so close to the surface. It's crazy. And I know some people have mentioned they've put some like grip tape on them and stuff like that, which is really good. I think that's the biggest complaint. I did try to get a close-in shot of this connector for you guys. It's almost impossible to do. Honestly, it's really, really difficult. I did try to get a close-in shot. I have looked through there with a very, very sort of small camera, and I've tried on the microscope, and the connector is a bit like a It reminds me of the old Sony memory stick style connector. It's not like an SD card, so I could have memory stick wrong. It's more like a double-sided cartridge connector. Almost, actually, no, here we go. More like an old Nintendo cartridge or NES cartridge where you had connections on both sides. It's got pins on the top, pins on the bottom, and there is some additional circuitry at the front, but it sort of looks like a cartridge connector that it goes into. I did try to record it for the review. I just couldn't get a good image of it. We'll probably see it someone will tear them down in short order, and we'll probably see it then. But I'll be honest, they are a very, very nice set of goggles. They really, really are. I have found a couple of quirks, as I did mention in the review. They have crashed, I think, 2 or 3 times. Nothing fantastic. You just power them down, power them back up. And actually, it's not been in use. It's been on the bench. And I haven't worked out this strange DVR behavior yet. I need to play with that more. But yeah, you know, they're premium. The screens are good. The field of view is okay. It's fine. It's not the biggest. It's not the worst. I would prefer the optics didn't have that tubular effect, but I can get used to it. It's as simple as that. Where I'm at on these right now is I'm going to try the Skyzone 04Xs. That's what I want to do next. I want to try the Skyzone 04Xs. But they're not bad. No, they haven't crashed while frying. No, they've never crashed whilst frying. It's more on the bench. And actually, I did reach out to Ivan. And I think it's if you're pressing a sort of too faster input or multiple buttons. So it's weird. I haven't had it happen out and about. I've seen 1 or 2 people, and Ivan did mention it. They're looking into it. It's nothing I'm concerned about, because literally the first time I thought it was me. The second time I was like, okay, it's not me. But I'm not sure what I did to trigger it. But I haven't had it happen in flight at all. In flight, they've been absolutely perfect. So yeah, they're very good. They're very, very good. There's no getting away from that. They are very, very good. I'm also interested in what Orqa are going to do as well. I did reach out to Ivan over that. Hello, Ryan. I did reach out to Ivan over that Ardra Pilot compatibility and having the option to stream in video via Wi-Fi, and they're going to look at that. So let's see. Let's see where it ends up. But yeah, for me, it's between these and the 04Xs. It's that simple. They actually work really well with HD0 as well. These absolutely no issues at all. The only thing you do need to make sure is you do set your HD0 VRX to 720p. They don't like them at 1080p. Good evening, Ryan. How are you? I hope you're safe and well, my friend. Did you see the start of the video? Just interested, where I talked about the scouts. But yeah, if you guys have got any questions on these, put them in. We'll, if there's anything I can answer, I will. They're going to be going back this week to the amazing Peppermint Pilot, who is the person in the chat here who lent them to me. Peppermint, is there any specific color you want your module cover? Do you want a black one? Are you happy with that color? What I can do a red one. I should have red in PLA. I have got Prusa Orange if you want it. I've got Gentleman's Grey, which is this one here. They call this Gentleman's Grey. Gentleman's Grey. But it's a bit bluey. Let me give you some other colour. Let me give you some other palette choices. Right. Just to show you. Right. You have Gentleman's Grey. We have this silver, which is close. It is close, but it's lighter. It is lighter than the Orqas. We have... Oh, that's Gentleman's Grey again. I have this grey, which again is lighter. So these two, if I just put these two side by side, you can see that they're off. Is that like Gentleman's Cappuccino? Peppermint's a superhero. I do have red. I should have some red PLA, which won't be far off the Orqa logo. I need to dig that out if I have got it. I should have it. It's very old, but I should have it. I've got a lovely purple, if you're interested, which has sparkles in it, if you like the sparkly effect. And I have got Prusa Orange, as you can see in the background there as well, if you really want them day glow. But yeah, let me know what module cover color you want, mate. I will sort it out for you and get it printed before I come up. Right, I'm going to have a sip of my tea before it goes cold. If you guys have got any more questions, please do let me know in the chat. Gentleman's Grey. Gentleman's Grey. I should do it in a Jeremy Clarkson voice. Gentleman's Grey. All of those colours are what I have in stock. I do have a few under there. I got black, obviously. Yeah. Now, a couple of little things this week before I move on to the radios. I've been talking to Hugo at True RC, and I tell you something, guys, that is a very, very clever man. He's been giving me just some tips and stuff on the VSWR stuff, as I spoke about this on the channel last week. And he is a very, very clever man. He really is a clever man, and I'm going to hopefully put some stuff together, but he's not taught me, but reminded me a lot. It's been a long time since I've really dug into radio aerials properly, and yeah, he's been absolute superhero. So I do like him. And I'm going to try and get the HD0 aerials in. I'm just going to turn my heater off. It's getting a bit hot in here. I have a little fan heater on the floor there, and it tends to keep me warm. Hugo is awesome. He is really, really good. And he's a very, very clever guy. I've had a few messages back and forth with him. Yeah, so, yeah, very clever guy indeed. He really is. Okay, so the radios. It's time to talk about Express LRS. And what a week it has been for radios, because we've had the release of the Zorro, and we've had a bit of news on the other radio, which we'll come on to in a minute. Now, I do feel for the guys who did the reviews on the Zorro. Let me just find it a sec. I'm not sure. This whole bloody... I don't have a relationship with Radio Master. They've not... I had a few messages back and forth, but I was going to have a look at the T12, I think it was. But I'll be honest, I just didn't have the time to make it happen. And Radio Master... Let me just find Radio Master Zorro, because I just wanted to show something specifically on this. And we never really made it happen. What I thought was, this is a nightmare for any creator, is this whole embargo shit, pardon my French, because you just can't win, because this is the game DJI play, and they have everyone release their videos at the same time, and it was the same situation with this. You had Albert Kim, you had JB, who went live a few hours later. You had RC Camps. He's a bit later. Gal released his. Paintless released his. Also, I think Nick... Pavel released his as well, as did Nick Burns and a few others. T-Mac released his. You know, there we go. There's Nick's. Nick Burns's. And look, a load of people released them. And it's just madness that everyone's having to release the videos at the same time, because, you know, I'll be honest, I've watched two. That's all I've watched. And look, I watch all of these channels. I watch a lot of other YouTube channels. I watch all of these. You know, there's no question who King of the Hill is with regards to watching view numbers. And look, let's be realistic. JB's on 23K. You know, look, JB is a gorilla in the industry. He really is, compared to the others, you know. And fair play to JB, actually, for holding back a little bit to give the others half a chance, because it's got to be tough. But Curry Kitchen as well had put his out. It's no good for anyone, them all releasing the same review at the same time. And it's not their fault. It's not the creators' fault. What choice have they got? I know Bruce hadn't put his video up yet because his was late getting to Australia, because everything is late getting... Sorry, to New Zealand, not Australia. Everything is always late getting to Bruce. I watched Nick Burns's. I watched JB's. They're the two I ended up watching. Nothing against all the others. I always try to watch everyone's, but they were the two that I got to and managed to talk about in my head and sort of go over the stuff. And it looks a real interesting radio. Although there does seem to have been one glaring omission, and this battery thing. And I do think they have messed up a little bit on this one. I think the battery life is okay, and people might tell me it's better than I'm seeing posted, but I have seen someone say they had less than an hour. I normally watch Gals. I just haven't had a chance. But if we put the radio up, it looks very, very interesting with the Express ELRS unit built in. But I do think they've got it slightly wrong with this battery situation. I like the screen. It's big. I don't have any issues with that. It is a bigger radio overall than some of the others. But I do think they've got it wrong with this 18350 thing. I do think they should have put more emphasis in that. I know guys are looking at more cells, but do you know what it tells me? When they've had to put a connect... Okay, it's got USB-C charging, okay. But when they've had to put a port on for an external battery, you know they've probably got it wrong. That tells you already they were concerned, in my opinion. That already tells you that. All is not lost, because the amazing man at Express ELRS J has already ripped his apart, and he has managed to cram in some 18650s. Now, this is no task for the faint of hearted. In his post, he wrote he had to cut away some, I think, additional plastic and unused parts of the gimbals. So this really isn't a basic task. Yeah, look, he's had to cut away there, so he's cut away the back of there. Look, he's had to shave around there, shave around there. He's got them in. It's a bit haphazard, but he's got them in. Okay, so what's he had to shave off on the gimbal? Oh, that post. Right. Oh, wow, I'm not sure. Is that unused? Has he removed the throttle? Okay, I'm not convinced that's fully unused. You said unused bits, Jay. Or G. I never know how to pronounce his name. I'm not is that really unused? That's I'd question that. As Types just said, I'd have put an 18650. Yeah, that's the throttle tensioner. That I wouldn't class that as unused. You normally have a little bit there, but if you've got to, yeah, yeah, that's a bold modification. That's a real bold modification indeed. It's fantastic he's done it, though. That is that is an amazing job. But, yeah. Oh, it's the ratchet, is it? Okay. It's the ratchet, not the tensioner. Okay. I think I'd have tried to stuff in some LiPo packs. LiPo somewhere. You could have probably have got... You know, I don't know why they didn't make this deeper, this screen, and put a LiPo in there. I don't know why they didn't put a LiPo in there, made the radio a bit deeper. It is a bit of a shame. I think, look, we're going to have to see what the real world is like. Something that has been said in this is that if you're using it in dynamic mode, it should give good life. I do think a number of people are whacking it on the max output, which I think is it 250 milliwatts on the Express LRS version. I think it was 250, and I think a lot of people are just whacking it on maximum output and then going, oh yeah, it's not lasting very long. I think if you stick it on dynamic, you're going to see a very, very big difference. What is really cool in this, and there's a feature in this we have not seen in any other radio, and that is the feedback for the RC output. And if you guys didn't see that, there is a feature on this radio which we have not seen before, and it's been introduced in Express LRS, which is allowing them to feed back the RF output and then self-calibrate the RF output to be correct on each individual power setting. If you remember my review I did on the Beta FPV module, let me just find the image for that. You'll remember that I did test the outputs on each module. Here it is. Let me put that up to show you. So I did tests on the outputs of the modules I've been doing, and you've got 25, 50, 100, 250, 500, and 1,000. Actually, let me not do that one. Where's the one people wanted? That one there. There we go. Sorry, use that one. That's the best one. So, and these outputs, you'll see some variance. You'll see, 25 milliwatts. It's at 17, 13, 23, depending on the module. It's at 37, 46, 58, 70. Now, this isn't because the module is bad or better than the other one. This is simply calibration. This is simply that the value that the Express LRS firmware is telling the module isn't aligned with what the actual output is. Therefore, it's not hitting the target. What's really important here is the max output, because the max output is basically the module being told, go to this. And if you see, for instance, a 1 watt, it's absolutely fine. Although it is interesting at 500 milliwatts, these are undershooting. But again, that could be a calibration issue on the module rather than it being an actual problem. However, this radio has a feedback. So it has calibrated values from Radio Master, which they send over to the guys at the Express LRS team. And they're now using that to basically have a full loop of output power, checking it and calibrating it. And it should be the most accurate output we've seen on a radio, period. And he did post some images, but I can't remember where he posted them. If anyone remembers, put it in the chat for me. I think it was... Oh, hello, Steve. Thank you for the super chat. I'll come back to that in a minute. I won't forget that. He has posted some images that show just how accurate it is. Did he post it on Facebook? Let me just have a look. I'm just trying to see where he posted it. He did post some cool images of it, and I can't remember, did he post it on the Express LRS group or which one it was on, but it's very cool. So this radio is also going to be handy in some ways for those of us who have RF power meters to be able to actually check our outputs versus what we think it is as well. And he did post some pictures. Let me just see if I can find them. They may have been on Discord on the Express LRS group. General, it'll have been a while ago. It was very cool. It was very, very cool indeed. Just scrolling back up. Is there an easy way to find pictures on Discord? I don't know how to use Discord very well at all. I am not great with Discord at all. If anyone does know. Scrolling back up. He posted pictures somewhere. Definitely posted them somewhere. Showing the RF outputs. It'll come to me in a minute, wherever they are. reporting here. Okay, catching up on the chat. Again, it just shows how damn good the Tango 2 is. It does. The Tango 2 is a cracking radio. It really is. Okay, Steve, massive thank you for the super chat, Steve, man. You are an absolute legend, my friend. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for the videos. Again, mate, I really do appreciate the support from everyone. And again, yeah, just a massive thank you from me, mate. It really is appreciated. Catching down on the chat, someone 3D printer case, a back half would do. You'd need a 3D printer back half. Type's obviously saying adding more batteries. I think I'm with Type. You're going to be adding more packs. I use dynamic on my jumper T-Light. What's the difference? What a difference it made to the runtime. Yeah, and I do think that's probably going to be the key here. Is dynamic. People need to just put it on dynamic and not worry about it. What's my opinion about FR Sky? Is they still exist as a company producer? It seems they've lost everything. Radios, receivers. I think they're in real trouble. I do think, in some ways, yes. However, I will add this: there are a lot of system builders, manufacturers moving over to the X20 because they really like that radio. They may be gone out of FPV, but they may be gone out of quad FPV, but they still make some really nice gear. And I do think for fixed wing and others, it's not all over. There is a lot to be said for the quality. And the big problem with a lot of these radios that are being really sort of adopted by the FPV community is it's all a race to the bottom in price. It's all a race to the bottom. And we're seeing problems as a result of that, which we will come on to in a minute when we start talking about the T-Pro, because, look, not everything is perfect. Not everything is 100%, and we are still seeing issues. Aren't FR Sky really no interesting? Look, FR Sky are still selling Express LMS modules. They just ship them with the wrong firmware on board. That was a they've always sold Express LMS modules. They just ship them with the wrong firmware. I think they won't vanish. I think they've lost the FPV community. But what Express LRS has done is allowed a load of manufacturers to come in and produce really cheap equipment off the back of open source software, just like we saw with flight controllers. We're now seeing that in radios. You can argue if that's a good thing or not. Not all of this will be a good thing. Not all of this will be a good thing, as we will talk about in a minute. I was going to say the X20 is meant to be a really, really nice radio. I am being told that the X20 is very good. Let me just have a look at it. I am being told that this radio, for a couple of guys who do sort of a lot of commercial work, and I was also talking to Ben at 3DXR about it as well, and he has found this to be a very, very good radio for his customers. Indeed, a very, very good radio for his customers. And he is installing this a lot more now alongside HearLink, but he's moving away from the likes of the T16S and things like that. Not over until Bruce signs. Hello, Gary. Hope you're safe and well. This was before Express LRS got popular. In one of the reviews of the Zorro, it showed significant null when the antenna was folded out. Would be interesting to do some RF testing on that. I've got the equipment for that. Do you guys want me to buy one and do some RF testing on the internal antenna? When he says, did he do some RF tests or did he just notice the null? So was the null end on, I'm guessing, at the top of the antenna? The X20, show us the X20, Steve. There it is. It's a very nice looking radio. Very, very nice looking radio. What's your opinion on flashing the F-99 with Express LRS? I have 2 in the box. I've never done it, Mark. I've been using all Express LRS hardware. You know, designed for Express LRS. I am tempted to get in the R9. It's good stuff, the R9. I don't think there's any problems with it. It's high quality gear. It's just the software that's the problem. But it comes off, and there's an SMA that fits in place of the Radio Master Zorro. That's good. Okay. The antenna is fully adjustable. It would just be interesting to know if there is that null in it. You know, I did see that it folded out completely, and that was never going to be the ideal scenario for it. You know, folded out. It was 100 milliwatts. Flashing the R900 is fine, works great. Yeah, I didn't think there was any issues with R9. It's good hardware. It is good equipment. There's no problems there at all. So that's the situation with the Zorro. I'd like to try one. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh my God, I want one of these radios. I'll be honest with you. I'm still very happy with the Mambo. I could be tempted to have a look, but I think there's a few too many compromises in this for me at the moment. I think I'd be more tempted on a Tango 2 and adding Express LRS internally rather than that. For me right now, if I transfer over to one of these, I'm running 3 systems on different aircraft. So I'm going to end up having to buy different modules because I've got full-size modules and not micro modules. So I would have to end up replacing my tracer module and my Express LRS modules. But it's only 2. I could do it. It wouldn't be a big issue. But I'm still more than happy with the Mambo. I'll be honest, the Mambo is still a very, very good radio. Whether I will get one of these in to talk about, I think I'll wait and see. Unless Radio Monster want to send me one. If you want to send me one, I will be more than happy to do a review on it. And I'd be really interested in tracking at the RF and seeing how that behaves. Tweet FPV is doing a custom Tango 2. Yeah, Failsafe's always doing. He's doing them on it every day. Failsafe did a really nice one as well. I'd be tempted on the Tango 2 more just because of the 18650s. I got no interest in modifying the radio with regards to batteries. Now, this leads us on nicely to this mess that we have, and that is the Jumper T Pro. And that mess is that the Express LRS devs have put out a statement saying that the internals or Jumper did not consult with the Express LRS team when they were designing this product. As a result, there is no provision in this for a failed flash of the internal module. Unlike the Zorro, for example, where there is an internal module which can be flashed via EdgeTX, it is not possible on this radio. Now, it is Tweet FPV, I believe, who managed to brick his on the update. I think he installed the wrong firmware. It is Tweet FPV. He's got a video up about it if you haven't seen it. I really like this guy's channel. He has a fantastic looking channel. He really, really does. Looks better than any video I've put out, I'll be honest. I am quite jealous of how good this guy's made it look. But yeah, he managed to brick his, and he ended up having to solder wires onto the PCB for going for an FTDI adapter. It's not massive work, you know, for someone who does this stuff. You'd be annoyed, but you wouldn't be sitting here going, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing." Is my door closed? I can't see. Oh yeah, it is. I thought my door was open then. Sorry about that. But it is a pain, and it shouldn't have happened, and it's stupid. So if you're interested in this video, do check it out. I'll put a link to it. Let's grab a link. We will put it in the chat for those who want to see it later on, not now. And he walks through the process, but it is clear that once again we have a situation where a manufacturer has made something for Express LRS, have not consulted the devs, and it doesn't work properly, or it doesn't have some features. Now, this isn't the first time we've had this. in Express LRS. And it is becoming a bit of a too common occurrence that manufacturers are going, ooh, lovely open source project. We're just going to fit that in our hardware and push it out. And what it just shows is the lack of understanding from the manufacturer. And I'll be honest, this doesn't look good on Jumper at all, in any shape or form, that not only did they not notice this and think, how are we going to recover? But B, didn't even reach out to the devs as well. And this is the downsides of open source projects, because anyone can come along and just say, yeah, we've made it compatible, and suddenly an issue like this happened. And it's not the first time. We've got receivers that haven't been made properly. We've got modules that haven't been made properly with mistakes. There has been a number this year. The Namimno had an error. They recalled them and got it fixed. The Beta FPV didn't have backpack functionality and it cut the RF off. You had the Beta FPV micro module that was missing a capacitor, and you couldn't... I can't remember what you couldn't do. You couldn't do something. You couldn't upgrade the firmware via UART, I think it was. You could only do it another way. I'm not sure what the other way was. There is a number of times we've seen manufacturers, especially in Express LRS, mess things up. Now, this has all happened in Betaflight. It's nothing particularly new. Betaflight's a bit more mature now, so people are used to dealing with it on a longer term. But it is a shame just to see it happen and users just get in this situation. And the reality is this: manufacturers basically building products or free software and not understanding what they're doing and not supporting the project. And that's the real issue here. So, for me, I think it would be a no from me on the Jumper based on that. And you've got to start looking at companies who do this, how they handle it, and where you put your money moving forward. Because all it looks to me is that they're basically trying to get a free ride as quickly as possible, and they're all crawling over each other to bring out the next best product. I loved the look of this radio when it first came out. You know, let's be realistic. This is a good looking radio. Yes, it's got these stupid button quirks at the top that you can work around, but it is a good looking radio. I think it's going to suit a lot of people. But it's no good if you brick it and have to tear it apart. So I don't know. I don't know really what to say other than probably don't buy. Because if you've got to take it up... The Wi-Fi update functionality is not rock solid. I had one fail here on a receiver. It's a bit of a shame. Yeah, I think the reality is it's hard to say you should consider buying this because of what you've got to do to recover it. And as someone said earlier, it's the source code. You've got to go in and change that as well, which is, I did start, it is a complete nightmare. It's just not what you should have to do if your radio bricks because of a failed firmware update. And it's nothing to do with the Express LRS team. But it is a problem we have seen in the Express LRS community the manufacturers getting involved over the last 12 months. I suppose, more than anything, it's a result of the mass increase in interest in the product. I think it's just showing you that they are all trying to do something as quickly as possible to make money off you. And they all need to slow down and produce a product that is going to last more than 3 months, and I can fix it if it bricks. You know, that's the biggest thing. So that's my thoughts on that one, guys. I think it's a nice looking radio. But yeah, not good Jumper. Not good at all. Not good at all. I also don't like GMI said it can't rotate the aerial. No. Well, handle, I think Bruce called it, didn't he? Momenti switch for arming. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? they're both good-looking radios, but it is interesting when you just see the size difference. I just saw. Let me just find this post I saw, and this was on the. Someone just posted. Yeah, they are quite a bit different. Whose image is that? First I post. Oh, it's Jay's image. So he's posted this on the Express ELRS group. Let me just zoom out to show you guys. They're quite a bit different in size. When you look at them, there is quite a bit of difference between them. It's a much chunkier radio overall. And for me, I do wonder how much space I'm going to be saving over the Mambo. What I'd like to see is this, the Radio Master next to the Mambo. Is it the same height from sort of the bottom there to there? Can we have a look on the size, actually? The jumper is more ergonomic. Yeah, I can see that. You can actually see that. But yeah, I'd like to know, what's the height from the top to the bottom? Is it much smaller than the Mambo? And the only bit you're really saving is here and here at that point. They got the specs, the size. Specifications. So have they got the overall external dimensions? So it's 170 by 159 by 108. Shall we look at the TBS? TBS Mambo. I'm really intrigued, actually, how close the size is. Okay. Is the Mambo got its size? They posted the size of the Mambo. Got the weight. So the Mambo is 565 grams. What's the Zorro? 350. So the Mambo's definitely heavier. No question about that. Any sizing? Come on, TBS. Oh, I think I'm going to have to measure mine, aren't I? There we go. I think we'll just... Oh, the top camera's gone off. Look at that. That stopped working. If only I had a ruler to measure it. If only I had a ruler. So 180 wide. Okay, so the Mambo's 180 wide. And that radio is 170. So I'm guessing 170 is the length on the Radio Master. I'm guessing it doesn't look... Is it 170 there or 170 by 159? So that's 180. There isn't a lot. You know what? 155 on the Mambo on height. 155. That's 157. Do you know what? There's not a lot between these two. Between that, I reckon, and that, there isn't a lot overall. The only space you're really saving is like this corner, and this area here. I don't think you're saving a dramatic amount overall. It just doesn't look like there's a lot there. If anyone has a Mambo and the new Radio Master, can you post a pic? The Mambo has a depressing face. What's wrong with the Mambo? Don't be cruel to the Mambo. Body styles, crossfire protocols. Yeah, you could just pick and choose. 100%, Tam. I do wish they'd made them both. Yeah, I would have much preferred the Mambo with crossfire. 100%. I am still tempted to do a mod where I put 3 modules in the radio and have 3 antennas. It's just switching between them is the more complicated one. I like the Mambo. It's a good radio. It is a good radio overall. I don't think, do you know what? I suspect there isn't a lot between it, and it'll then be, do you really prefer game style or not? But when you do see the size of those two side by side, it's quite a lot. It is quite a lot. Okay, guys, so that's it on the radios. If you've got any questions, please do put them into the chat. I'm just going to grab a cold drink, which is next to me. I brought that up with me earlier. I've let my tea go cold again as well. We're going to talk about the Whoop in a minute. I'm just going to find out why my top camera's gone off. What's going on with the top one? 2 seconds. Grabbing an unused Zorro on discount this week. It's sitting at my friend's house review unit. Could grab a T Pro from him while I'm at it. Nice. Right, for some reason my overhead camera isn't working. Why is my overhead camera stopped working? One moment. That's very strange. Don't know why that happened. Let's go on the full. Boom. There we go. Oh, look at that. We're not level. Whoa, where's it gone? Where's it gone? Let's adjust it. Come around here. A little bit more. There we go. We're back. Are the switches in the radio standard? In what radio? Expander, which one are we talking about? Hello, Trouble Over, how are you? Hope you're safe and well. Yeah, there's a lot of choices in radios right now in there. My X-Lite. I'm still on the X-Lite and 9XD. There's a lot of choice in radios right now. There really is a lot of choice. You know, you've got the TBS, the X-Lite. You've got the new ones this week. I do know people do like the X-Lite radios, all of them. How's my day? Day's been fantastic, my friend. T16 man, but there's so many. I don't like big radios anymore. I've gone off the T16s and stuff. I don't see a need for those radio sizes anymore. For me, they do nothing for me. Would I love a T16 with the gimbals that JB and Bruce has? Yes. I would just like it, please. Yes. However, I am flying the Mambo the most of the time. I think it's about the right balance for me. The DJI radio was the perfect size, but I'm no longer using DJI for radio purposes because you can't do that with HD0 and others. I could get into a game style radio, but I gotta then change all my modules. How long before someone brings a radio? Here's something interesting. What would you do if TBS brought out the Tango 3 that had Crossfire, Tracer, and Express LRS? Would you buy it? T12 Max with AGO1s would be very nice. I know it's not going to happen. But you imagine, because look, there's nothing stopping TBS adding Express LRS. You can say it won't happen. I get that. Or, do you know what? TBS don't even need to do that. TBS would only need to bring out a radio that did both Crossfire and Tracer, because you just put the Express LRS module in and you'd be done. They don't even need to add Express LRS, because as long as they put a module bay, you'll put the module on the back. All they need is a radio that does crossfire and tracer. I would love to see that. It would be very, very good. I am shocked that no one has replicated, none of the Chinese manufacturers has replicated the TBS protocol. I'm shocked that hasn't been copied. Evening, David. How are you? It would be a pricey radio. I think if we could have a crossfire, I wish they would just fix the damn Wi-Fi. Yes, peppermint. Yeah, it's yeah. That's matter and antimatter. I think if all they've actually got to do is the Tango 3 is just got to have crossfire and tracer built in. That's all it's got to do. I've said this before. If TBS have any sense, they will be designing both a radio and receivers that support both crossfire and tracer and auto switch between the two. So you would have your receiver and transmitter that uses the best of both, and then what you have is this transfer of protocols where you, at close range, have the 250 hertz of tracer. You have the all of the benefits of that system, so 250 hertz, all of the because it's FLRC, isn't it? So FLRC 250 hertz, and then they move over to crossfire dynamically over to LoRa and drop the stick rates as it goes out. If they did that and their receivers supported it, they would really get a lot of people. 2 antennas. It would also need to be able to... Do you really need 500 hertz? Here's the truth. Does anyone really need 500 hertz? In the end, how many radios today even support 500 hertz? The Radio Master doesn't, as I understand it. We kind of don't need tracer if we go Express LRS, though. No, I get that. But I think from a TBS product standpoint, TBS are not going to sit here and say, you guys can use Express LRS for local and we're going to use this for longer. I think TBS's future is in a recombination of these protocols and ranges and even have it as band switching. Get good on you, Whoop. You'll appreciate it. Yeah, okay. I get it on that. It makes a difference. But the reality is 99% of pilots don't need it. 99% of pilots don't. You know, I think more people would be interested in TBS having a dual system than having TBS with 500 hertz. I think that could be really interesting. If TBS combined the two, you have a receiver with 2 antennas, one 900, one 2.4 gigs, and it could be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. They'd have to do some work on the chipset. Is there a non-diversity tracer RX? Yes or no? I can't remember on that. TBS tracer. Is there? In my head there is, but let me just double check. I can't remember. In my head, yes, but I could be thinking no, there isn't. No, there isn't. So TBS tracer nano RX. No, it's dual. But it builds confidence. It is a year of radios. I will agree with that. It is exactly how many radios do people want? I was thinking of the new TBS module, not tracer. In my head, it was yes, but I was trying to remember what I was looking at a couple of weeks ago. It's antenna diversity. Yes, it just would be interested to use it with, you know what I mean? You have a 2.4 on a 5 gig antenna. it could be very, very interesting. And if TBS wanted to do something different, I think Tropier has asked us on his stream, and he said he didn't care if someone wants to put an Express LRS onto his controller. Be kind of quiet after the question to X. Yeah, Trappy's sort of behavior on Express LRS seems a bit, when it's tough because look, they're a company that there is no question TBS innovates. There's no question about that, and it's got to be soul destroying for them when, look, let's be realistic, and we know this how this industry is. We all know it. Let's be realistic. So you've got radios. So we're gonna go not RC links. We're gonna go radios. Where are the radios? Why can't I see the radios? Is it under FPV equipment? Where's the radios? Under ready to fly? I can't see the radios. Let's go back to home. It's got to be a bit of a killer for them when they're innovating on all of this stuff like radios. Why can I not find the radios? Am I being blind? I'll go to new products then. Because under here should be the Mambo somewhere. Oh no, it's gone now. There, it's under radios. There you go. So, it's got to be tough when they're innovating on stuff like this. Okay, so they got the Mambo. They got the Tango 2, the Tango 2 Pro. They're doing really great stuff. Let's look at this. $159 on the Tango 2. And then these guys go, yeah, we're going to do it for $99. Yeah, we're going to come in Express LRS, $99. It's got to be tough for them. Look, they're not making huge money here at $150, $160 it is. This is cutthroat. At this price, this is cutthroat now. This is not an area where they're making huge amounts of money. Is anyone flying the Tango, the original one? Is there many people flying that still? I'm really intrigued. It's got to be tough for them to see that happening to them all of the time. Actually, we'll go to that one. I've never had a problem with the TBS stuff. To be fair, yes, their firmware updating is just shocking right now. It does seems. How do I find different switch for my T16? Depends what switch you are after, Expander. Which one are you looking for? As a pilot for 2013, you moved from a Taranis, INST, and 16 Selmail stuff. I do it Selmail stuff, then Tango 2, I always wanted a compact radio. The T2 works. I think it's a very good radio. Was also sad to see Maytech. No, I'm shocked they haven't done a TX module. Yeah, as well, Maytech. On the Express MLRS modules, I've now got to look at. I want to look at the. I want to get in the Happy Model 1 Watt and the Namimno. They're the two I want to get in next. They're the two main ones. But if I was to convert to a Tango 2 today, we're talking a Tango 2 is $160. And how much is the... I'm going to have to get a tracer... Slim module. I don't want a tracer and fusion pack. So it's going to be another $70 for the tracer fusion module. Have I managed... Love Crossfire. I do, yeah, Tam Holt. I do like Crossfire as well. If I had to choose one link, I would probably, of all of them, I would probably end up with Crossfire, but Express RS is doing amazing stuff. It really is. It really is. Now, if you guys have got any questions when I'm going through the chat, please do let me know. I've covered most of the subjects in this video so far. The only last thing I'm going to talk about is this, and we'll move on to this. Now, I need to get a charger for this because I haven't got a multi-charger. I got the USB one, which is really annoying. So I need to have a look at 1S Whoop chargers. Unmanned. We need to go on unmanned aerial tech because we're unmanned. I'm still waiting to order my motors for the 7-inch build, for those who saw the video. Ah, right. Shorter switches. Right, so the first thing I need is a 1S charger. Anyone got any recommendations? I've seen a few. I've seen this thing at 20 quid. Very nice. You saw a break. Yeah, we did have a bit today. I did fly the Whoop through the woods. So I'm looking through the chargers. So we've got this one here, which is one option, which I've seen, which is like, that's no good because that's the wrong connector. That's BT 2.0, so we're not going to be going with that. We've got this thing. That one probably looks the better option, but it's out of stock. Shock horror. That one's not decent. We've got any of the others? Beta FPV do one? Anyone tried the Beta FPV one? Charger only. Oh, it's the wrong. Is that the right? Oh, have they got the right connectors on the side? PH2. Oh yeah, they've got it on it. That one looks decent. 6-port 1S charger. You can set the voltage. I think I probably. Oh, it's out of stock. Shock horror. Oh, I can get it with the mains adapter though. That's going to cost me 27 quid. Don't you love it when nothing is in stock? How would you think they'd handle? I would personally handle the situation with 2 antennas. If TBS were going to do dual, I'd do a 2.4 and 900 antenna and not have diversity, just have single antennas. Using then the 900, you could just do it as diversity and allow it to switch automatically because it should pick the right antenna anyway. So it doesn't look like I'm ordering a LiPo charger for the Whoop this week. Because there's nothing in stock. No, there literally is. Oh, TBS micro battery charger is. Oh, TBS. Oh, shock horror. Not in stock. Isn't it amazing that just nothing is in stock right now? Anyway, you just can't buy anything. One S Charger UK. Let's have a look. Drone Authority is another one. Let's give them a shout. Oh, they got the Beta FPV one. Okay, so it looks like I'll be going with the Beta FPV. Banggood got the Beta FPV. Is that Banggood? I could do with it this week. I don't want to wait for China. Standing joke, yeah, it is. Unmanned aerial tech stock. Probably end up on that one. 1S charger. Let's have a look. Here we go. Oh, we've got that one there. Does it? This one. That just takes a USB input. That's in stock as well. 10 quid. That's all right, isn't it? That's not too bad. Does that have switching for both batteries? Are approximately 3.75 volts? Yeah, you got no chance. I went down to 3 volt to cell today. The problem is on unmanned aerial tech is if you select the out of stock option, the screen goes blank. I guess I'm going to end up with a beta FPV. That's probably what we're going to do at 18 quid. So we'll add that to the cart. We will go with that one. I'm still waiting to order in the motors and stuff for use on the 7-inch build. I've been waiting. Buy 1S serial board and charge with a standard charger. Yeah, I've been trying to find a 1S serial board, but they're basically as expensive as the actual chargers. That's the crazy thing about it. Then you get storage charge. It's a good point. Very good point indeed. Try Banggood. Oh no, Chinese New Year. Yeah, it'll never turn up. That's the problem. I'm just looking down. Yeah, you are right. A 1S board like that would be better. Does that do 1S? I think they said it does 1S. It says 2S. That board, 1S, 1 to 6S. That says 2S. Okay. Interesting. Obviously, their picture is not correct. I used a charger that had DC input for 1S2S, and they would over DM charge fast and destroys the batteries. Okay, interesting. China on holiday for 2 weeks. Yeah, it's not a good idea at the moment. That's what I've got at the moment, is one of them, basically, which is no good. Storage charge would be good. I would like the idea of a storage charge. What does my charger go down to? 1 second. Let me just have a look. I'm talking about charge current. I don't know how low it goes. Two 200 milliamp hour. Goes down to 200 milliamp hour. That's all right, isn't it? They're only, what are they? They're 300 milliamp hour packs. You guys can't see. Oh, where is it? Where's the camera? Yeah, they're 300 milliamp hour pack. Oh, that don't work, does it? The 1S series wire harness thing is like $3 on Banggood. Yeah, that would be ideal. Is a 1S harness. Nothing on there. What are they calling them? 1S charge. Ah, here we go. These. Is it? Ah, these. I wonder if anyone in the eBay UK has got one. That would be all right. Wouldn't it? Charging harness, 2-pin Jesse. See if anyone in the eBay has. Good old eBay may be able to help us out. Madstream is all about us lot spending his money. Yeah, cheers, guys. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Now, as I'm sitting here, guys, if you do have any questions, please do let me know. I'm going to wrap this one up. Beatable USB chargers for the bats with the BFI quads. Yeah, I did. There's no balance lead on. No, 1S is just 1S. It is how it is. It is a balance lead, basically. The whoop I got, just to walk you through this, is the little happy model. Now, I got the Express ELRS edition. Now, it turns out that probably wasn't the best choice because it has the different motors, which are the... Which ones are these? These are the 0702s instead of the 0802s or the 0804s. But it's a good little aircraft, if I'm honest. It's hard to say how long the flight time is because I've usually crashed so many times between then. it's not really it's hard for me to give you a reflective answer because the battery burns off just sitting on the ground. It does get incredibly hot just sitting there. About what I might do actually is going to do a mini review on this just to talk about it. And about my only complaint is these battery clips just don't hold at all. I've had to force in a piece of foam to sort of hold the battery in tight because without it the battery just falls out. I finally got a Whoop. What is it? It's the Modular 6, but it's the Modular 6 Express LRS edition. So it's got the built-in Express LRS antenna. Just to show you guys, it's located, where is it? There. It's just located that side there. It's got the little Express LRS tower antenna. It's the happy model, so it came with those, but I also bought these slightly bigger batteries. It's interesting. Look at this, right? I did find this interesting. Both 300 milliamp hour, and just look at the size difference in the packs, okay? So, look at the thickness difference. Both 1S, both 300 milliamp hour. Which ones do you trust the most? That happy model ELRS is complicated. Good evening, Robin. How are you? 0702s. Yes, expander. I just posted a link on my Discord. Ooh, let's have a look. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's better. A lot of people are recommending. I haven't used. I was looking at the Brother Hobbies myself. I haven't used the FPV cycles. A lot of people are recommending the Emaxes on 7-inch builds. The 2802. Is it the 2802s? Off the top of my head, I need to try and check. Try to save as much weight as possible on your batteries. Yeah. Interesting though, innit? Just look at the size difference between those packs. And obviously weight. Very interesting indeed. Yeah, the Emax is the 2807.5s. The 75mm just fly better for some reason. Do they? Interesting. I could be tempted to pick one up next month. I do know people have said that the Express LRS edition, because of the different size motors, it doesn't give the same amount of flight time and doesn't fly particularly well. People have said to upgrade to the 0802 motors when I burn these ones out, and it will fly a lot better. I'm still getting used to it at the moment. To say I'm all over the place is an understatement. Certainly no Nick Burns, put it that way. But yeah, it's a good little aircraft. What was someone saying earlier about they've had to slow... The Modular 6 frame needs a rubber band for the battery as it has little knobs for it. Yeah. Does it? I couldn't see them. Oh, is that what that is there? Okay. The Happy Model Express RS is complicated. Is it completed with their own TX? Needs to slow down the CPU speed. What do you mean? They've slowed down the CPU on the flight controller? Oh, that's what. Vifly Whoopstar 6-port. Okay, that's interesting. I do like Vifly's gear. They make good gear indeed. Let's have a look at that, shall we? Let's have a look at the Vifly. Let's put that one up. Ah, okay. Oh, look at that. That's a board and a half. It's like a go-kart. It's only like a mini. Damn, that is a nice looking board, isn't it? But I might just get one of those wiring harnesses. Firefly Alex for $24. Get the Emax and T-motor. Can we get a bigger look of the board, the charger? Yeah, let's have a look. Where's the picture? No, wait there. Let's try and find a better picture than that, shall we? Anyone selling that in the UK? No. We can find it on AliExpress. There you go. That's a bigger look at it there. That looks nice. I will probably go with something like... Is anyone doing... One on eBay, 1S charge harness. Anyone selling one of these on eBay? eBay co.uk rather than US. 1S charge harness. Hey, here we go. That's better. Look at that. Is that in the UK? Oh, it's in Wales. Look at that. There we go. I might just order a few of them, because I can then convert that to XT60 and off we go. So when you guys charge multiple batteries, more than 10 available, if I order what? 3 will do it. I'll order 3 of them. Leave that there. So when you guys order a charge, what are you parallel charging these? Because obviously you would usually parallel charge at a higher current. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You would usually charge at a higher current, but they're not going to like that, are they? I think I'm going to get the... That's parallel charging. Yeah. You're parallel charging them, which isn't ideal. But you're doing that with a parallel charging board as well. Because you could charge them at 1 amp. It's just having that storage charge would be nice, wouldn't it? Because you want to be, you can easily put them a storage charge at that. Fractal board, serial board, technically, okay. That shed looks combustible. I will probably end up with where is it? On Drone Authority. I'll probably end up going with that Beta FPV one. That's in stock. You want series, not parallel. So what? You're charging them like a normal traditional LiPo then, is what they're doing. Right. I do like the look of that Vifly. $20. That's pretty good. It's a shame I can't get that Vifly Whoop style. Can we get that in the UK? Why can't I get that? I don't want to wait for it from AliExpress. I don't want to wait from AliExpress. It's going to take too long at the moment. Too long. Paper Store UK. I don't... Ooh, no, that's not it. I thought I found it on Amazon. Yeah, you then charge them as 466. Yeah, 300 milliamp hour. That makes sense. That makes complete sense. I'm just looking to see if I can get that. I wouldn't mind that Vifly board. The Vifly. Does look a very nice charger. No, not in stock there. Not in stock there. My local store, Rodriguez. I do like. It's a shame that Wi-Fi isn't showing up. Whoop Store. Okay, what's whoopstore.co.uk? Never seen these. Oh, I have seen these. I'm being an idiot. We've seen these before. Batteries. What have they got under the Whoop Store? Let's have a look. You would like to think. They're not showing chargers. Accessories. You would have thought they'd put charger. No, not a lot on these guys. Wi-Fi Amazon store. Ooh. Ah, I thought I found it. 1S best, I use gold trusted Sky RC, which handles 1 to 6S and gets the balance on multiple cells. Everyone wants to cover screen. I'd say not required. Yeah, I will probably end up with this beta FPV. I'd like a storage charge option because that would just be handy. Although Wi-Fi are now saying that they have a UK store, is what they're saying. The European store has been launched. Let's have a look on Amazon. Oh, they've got an Amazon store. Let's have a look. So if I click on Wi-Fi, who is that sold by? Oh, okay. So if I search for Wi-Fi themselves and just see what comes up. They've got lots of stuff on Amazon, just not charger. Frustrating. Yeah. 1S battery. Yeah, storage is just handy, isn't it? It'd just be nice to have storage because you can just then just hit the switch. No, okay, it's looking like I'm going to go with the beta FPV. That's probably what we're going to end up doing. That's looking like that's an option. Is Europe mainland too slow? It takes a while now with the whole thing. It does take a while to get stuff over. It really does. Right, guys, that's it from me on this one. Please do stay safe. Please do look after yourselves. We've done a good run tonight. Nearly 2 hours, actually. Favorite charger is the old school cellmator light bulb attachment thing. You can't think. So, thank you for spending the night with me. I do appreciate it. As always, we'll be back same time, same place next week. I'm hoping for a bit of a quieter one this week. Thank you for everyone who's given the feedback on the video as well that went out today. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for everyone who's subscribing. If you are new here, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Thank you to the guys who used the Patreon as well as the guys who actually did the super chat as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A massive thank you from me. If you do want to support the channel, please do check out our Patreon as well as the Buy Me a Coffee. Also, the link in there to Discord is there too if you want to use that as well. Look after yourselves. Now I've got to try and find the right button to get rid of this. Thank you. Stay safe. And I will speak to you guys soon. Button 1. Button 2.